Welcome to the HIV podcast. Each week we focus on a person, historical event or pop culture moment linked to HIV and explore the story of what actually happened. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jess, and between us we've been working in the field of HIV for 40 years. Our aim is to get as many people as possible HIV educated. Right, Sarah, before anything, there's been a request, and I know you think you've done this before. But there has been a request.
I know what you're going to ask me. I've done it before. I'm not doing it again. I haven't got the wording.
Charlotte Leach, I did ask her to do it in Welsh, and she is protesting that she's done it before. I don't remember you doing it before.
I'm sure it was on... I can't find which episode, but I remember doing it. Oh. And I remember having apologising to everybody who is Welsh.
How is your Welsh Duolingo going?
Duolingo, right, is very manipulative. I'm just going to put it out there. Okay. It really tugs at your heartstrings. If you haven't done a session that day, it just goes bananas, and it says things like, "Don't you want me anymore? Do you not want to be my friend anymore? Why are you ignoring me?" And it's like, calm down.
Jesus, that's a bit much.
It is a bit much. So I'm backing off a little bit because I think I've created a dependency and it's not healthy.
You're feeling smothered.
I am. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, fair enough. Welcome to the HIV podcast.
Is that it?
Yeah. That's how we're doing it.
Oh.
Because I didn't know if you still remembered your Welsh. So I thought, I'd take a punt.
I do remember it. But I've got no excuse not to say it now. But I'm just worried that if I say it, it's not going to be right. Oh, the leech has put me in a difficult situation.
You've been leached.
I know. I like being leached.
Sorry, Charlotte. I did my best for you. What more can I do? Let's move on.
Okay.
So this is going to be an interesting bit where I tell you we've had wind of some exciting HIV news. We actually can't say what it is. But I'm just going to tell you that we've had word of some exciting news. Something exciting that we think is happening down in Portsmouth. And we are very much hoping to chat with the organisers of this thing, hopefully in the next few weeks. So we may or may not have news from Portsmouth to tell you. That's how I'm gonna sell every portion of news here. There may or may not be something happening in the world somewhere to do with HIV.
Well, I know there's definitely something happening down in Portsmouth, and it's very exciting.
Oh, okay. You're going for it's a definite. Okay, I like it. Maybe you probably have more connections than me.
So on the 4th of July, along with being the election day, gosh.
I've had to put a sign on my letterbox this morning. Put a sign on my letterbox saying, please, no more election leaflets. We have voted. And then I put in brackets, postal.
Oh my gosh.
Just because, I have this massive sign in my garden that says Lib Dems, yeah? Lib Dems winning here. It's massive. And the Lib Dems obviously everyone else is avoiding us because of what's the point? We're clearly who we're voting for. The Lib Dems just keep hammering us. I'm receiving via the post and also leafleting. Oh my God, I'd say 2 a day. It's insane. Ben even had to say to this person delivering the letters the other day, sent the dogs crackers 8 at night when you don't expect post. And Ben said, there's a sign right there that says that we're voting Lib Dem. And the guy's like, I'm just doing my job. And it's just like, wait, stop it, everyone. Just stop it now. Putting me off.
Wow.
Yeah. But yes.
Okay, sorry. So the 4th of July, election day, big things happening down in Portsmouth. More information to follow. Excellent. Also, it's our 39th anniversary today. We always say that we started on the 1st of July. The problem is that it was so long ago, nobody knows. But it was definitely July.
Yeah, that's why I kind of vaguely say the month of July. Because some people say June for us.
No, it's definitely July.
Oh, do you know who'd know? Will Hampson.
What, he'd know when we were started?
He just seems very good at being like Jessica Fletcher, getting his, glasses out and looking in the archives. He knows more about us than we do. So I'm just saying, Will, do you know when we started, the exact date? That'd be good.
I don't know how you'd find that out, though.
Would you put that on your charter initially when you had to go to the Charity Commission? Are we talking about that date or... Because how would we ever know the very first date that people met up together?
I don't know. Because in 1985, that would have been... I don't know if that was when it was formally constituted. This is interesting for everyone.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
Or where they decided to commit to meeting at each other's houses.
Well, okay. So are you saying from here on out, the 1st of July, you are decreeing is the official TVPS birthday?
Yes, because I always put it in our funding bids. I don't know why any funder needs to know the exact date that you started, but I always say, well, it's the 1st of July, 1985.
Well, maybe it's nice for people to have a date, though, to aim for.
Anyway, happy birthday to us. Excellent. Are you ready to start? Any more
I am
news?
indeed. No more news.
Right, okay. So last week we looked at countries around the world that restrict access because of HIV. Can you believe it that countries still do this?
I didn't know how many restrictions there still were, to be fair, which is sad.
So 2 of those countries are Brunei, who don't allow people with HIV to enter at all. And people who are found to be HIV positive are deported. And Bhutan, where you have to have tested within the last 6 months if you want to stay longer than 2 weeks, and anyone who tests positive may be deported. But this got me thinking, what about people born in those countries and living in those countries that are diagnosed with HIV? How are they treated?
Yeah, well, my knee-jerk reaction is to say not particularly well. But, you know, where do they get their support? Where do they... is there any support? That's exactly it, isn't it?
Yeah. And there is, thankfully, because that was what I was thinking, is if you are in a country that won't let people with HIV in, but you're either born positive or you've contracted within that country, do they just then kick you out? That would be pretty mean, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But no, in both countries, there are HIV charities. I have to say, in other countries with strict guidelines, there isn't any support. So if you think Bahrain, for example, I can't find any HIV charities in Bahrain at all.
Oh, wow. And we know we have listeners in Bahrain. So a big shout out to our listeners from Bahrain. We are very sorry that there is no HIV support. But remember that you are with us in our community, listening in our little podcast community. So please take that as some sort of support.
So Brunei first. So the organisation is called the Brunei Darussalam AIDS Council, or BD AIDS Council for short. Everyone around the world involved in HIV care has to have acronyms. It's like the law.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You
Maybe
can't just have the name of an organisation. You've got to be able to use the initials, or it's just not going to work. Anyway, this organisation, they're so lovely. So their aim is to educate the public about HIV and AIDS related issues in order to be well informed and live a healthier lifestyle on a par with us.
Yeah.
They started in 2000, and they don't just tackle HIV and AIDS. They're also looking at other STIs, sexually transmitted infections, unwanted pregnancy, and social issues for anyone over the age of 18. And their motto, do we have a motto?
Well, it used to say a positive future on the bottom of our logo, didn't it? But it's like, I feel like that's really vague.
So their motto is advocate, educate, empower.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a good motto. Write that down.
Yeah.
And their vision is together towards an AIDS-free Brunei society. Do you think they mean HIV-free, or do they actually mean AIDS-free? Well, let's look at what they do and how it compares to what we do here at TVPS. That's the benchmark I'm using here, Jess.
Okay.
So they, as I said, disseminate information on HIV and AIDS and its related matters in Brunei. So they are working to reduce stigma, discrimination, raise awareness about STIs. And I imagine that cannot be easy in a country with a culture like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I cannot say what the vibe is around HIV in that country, but I feel, to me, as an outsider, it feels like it might be quite hostile. So very difficult to have these educational conversations.
I think it is, but do you know what comes across from the website and from the newspaper articles that I've seen that have been written about them? They are an extremely enthusiastic bunch. And I think probably they have to be, because it's not the most welcoming environment, but they're very passionate.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard to counteract, isn't it? If you're passionate about, and you've got a strong message, which they clearly have.
Yeah.
You're 50% of the way there. And they do loads of things. They do talks, they do roadshows, they do workshops, they do forums, they do consultations. They foster good relations with the media. So they're working really hard to kind of raise awareness about this. And they're very community focused. So that's really at the heart of what they do. They want their community to understand the risks about HIV and how to counteract them. But they're also networking with government agencies, private sector, non-government organisations. It's very similar, actually, to what we're doing over here. And in a way, I think, is that how it is across the world? Is this what all HIV organisations are doing? First and foremost, supporting people with HIV, but also raising awareness, networking, trying to keep your funds coming in. They do youth work, community work, and voluntary work. Oh, they have a youth group as well. And they've used that as, because that's been really successful, as a basis to kind of reach out to other kind of grassroots level community groups.
Yeah.
To further educate and empower them. And they have a long-term plan. So they've got they say they've got a targeted audience, but I was like, I think that includes most people. So their targeted audience is women, men, families, students, teachers, medical personnel, religious leaders, and more.
Oh, wow. I wonder why teachers and religious leaders in particular. That is my work phone. Carry on.
Oh,
it's fine. It's scary. It's fine. I'll call it.
Oh, so quite a broad audience that they're trying to engage with. But I suppose once you've got messages out to religious leaders and teachers, they can then disseminate further through their own evidence.
So they're targeting them for education. That's why I was like, what a weird thing to be like, we need to raise awareness with these. What I thought you meant was these are at-risk groups. So I was like, why specifically teachers or religious leaders?
Oh, I see. No, I think these are the people that can help them spread their message and reach those high-risk groups.
That makes sense.
And it is a clever way to do it because, as we know, reaching hard to reach groups, high-risk groups yourself is very, very labour-intensive.
Yeah, massively.
And as we said, they are doing all of this within the context of the Islamic faith.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, can be quite challenging.
Yeah, I think that has its, another set of challenges around even talking about sex or sexual, it's how do you even begin those conversations?
I think within the context of any faith, it's quite difficult to do that. Anyway, there's a great article in the Borneo Bulletin. I never thought I'd get to talk about that publication. So they are making a huge impact, and they've clearly got the support of the media, which is fantastic. Because again, it's helping your cause, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I would say, I mean, there's only so much you can tell from a website, but I would say that they have a lot of energy. Very proud of their work. They're very passionate, and they are very caring, and that's the most important thing. Because for me, I don't like to think of anyone who is HIV positive not having a source of support. But in Brunei, there's definitely a good organisation that can support you.
Yeah, well, as ever, I'm imagining they have a website. That's how you found out about them. You didn't jet over to Brunei. So we will put the link below. So please do go and check them out. And I'll also tell them. I will tell them. I'm going to get in touch with them and say, hey, you lovely people. We've just given you a big old shout out on the podcast.
Oh, you should, because they're really hardworking. Really hardworking. So I was very impressed. Well done, Brunei. You've redeemed yourself.
They might, well, I mean, the people in Brunei might not love you saying that. Do you mean they've redeemed themselves from kicking people out that are HIV positive?
Yeah, because that's not nice to think, is it?
Yeah, no.
This organisation goes a long way to perhaps making that an easier fact to digest.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't like anyone with HIV and we don't want anyone to come into our country. Then this organisation is going, we're doing everything we can to raise awareness and support people living with HIV. Right. The other country is Bhutan. Where is Bhutan in the world?
South Asia.
Ooh.
So Bhutan is, I will tell you, let's look on a map. Just going into Google Maps to tell us exactly where Bhutan is. So Bhutan is in South Asia, and it is sort of not far from, oh goodness, what is that? Oh, it's Nepal, Tibet, Bangladesh. It's in that area of the world.
Always wanted to go to Nepal. Anyway, that's for another day. So in Bhutan, there's another very caring charity. Again, very similar to us here in the UK. They focus on awareness raising and supporting those affected by HIV. And they do things like fund travel costs to medical appointments.
Yeah.
Which is really important. I think anywhere where you haven't got quick access to medical care, or lack of funding prohibits you from accessing that care, this organisation is all about addressing those inequalities.
I suppose you also don't know how far people are having to travel to access these services, do we? That could be like a mega journey.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, if you live very rurally, then yeah.
Are you just stroking your whiskers?
No, it's got a hair.
Sarah's
oh my God, do you think it is a whisker? Oh, is this how I find out?
Sarah's just pulling a hair off her chin, and it just looked like she was stroking an extremely long whisker.
One of these off my head.
I'm with you, don't worry.
No, note to self, check for whiskers afterwards. I can't have that. I have enough trouble with my moustache. Jeez. Anyway, back to this lovely charity. So the charity is called LACSAM. And on their website, it says, "We are here for you, looking through lenses of compassion and sleepless nights, for every individual's welfare is ingrained in our hearts."
I love that strapline.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh, that's lovely. I would feel comforted going to their charity. I'd feel comforted accessing support from them.
Yeah, because you get a sense that they really care.
Mm.
Currently, out of 874 HIV positive cases detected in the country, LACSAM has 250 members, of which 57% comprises of female. So that's 28% that they're supporting of the total number of people that are HIV positive, and that is very similar to us. So we have about a third of everyone diagnosed with HIV in Berkshire links into our service.
Imagine, that's for the whole of Bhutan though, isn't it? Like that's the whole of the country. Crazy.
It's quite a small country.
Oh, it must be. Bhutan famously measures its domestic happiness. Oh, its domestic success with a gross happiness index, and it's one of the happiest countries on earth.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it's got a population of over 700,000.
Oh, very small then.
Is that small?
Okay. We should work out their HIV prevalence.
Oh, wow.
What an exciting life I lead. Okay, so it's prevalence of 0.12.
Oh, so that's, it's a low prevalence. But what they're saying is, so this is from January 23, they're saying, although Bhutan has a relatively low prevalence, I think they'd had like 79 new cases. So that would have been in either 2023 or 2022.
Oh.
It said the need to intensify like HIV education.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it has a prevalence, says it on UNAIDS, of below 0.1%. But it's the growing risk behaviour, this says.
Yeah. So there is work to be done. They say the number of children living with HIV has reached 40, and they count members as those who are actively involved with LACSAM for treatment, care and support. They're so similar to us. They are also, so service users that they support receive social support, counselling and training. LACSAM is a sub-recipient of the Global Fund, the HIV Global Fund. And that's mainly for them to carry out prevention activities and treatment and support for people living with HIV. So that's where they get their funding from.
Right.
Because it's a small country, isn't it? And it's a very small number within that country, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't receive support. In fact, I think it's more important that they receive support because they're so isolated.
Yeah.
So again, lovely organisation, very compassionate, very hard working. And as we said, very good to know that there are organisations around the world, just like us, that really care about their service user base. But it's made me feel squishy and warm.
It is good to know. But then I also keep thinking about the people who don't, those countries that don't have any support. That must be incredibly tough.
Yes, and you've already kind of mentioned this. So if you live in a country where there is no support, then you've got us, Jess and I.
And the rest of the community know that they're thinking of you. Hop onto our Instagram and you'll see, and leave a comment under one of the videos and get involved that way.
So Jess and I, as you hopefully could tell from the podcast episodes, care passionately about people living with HIV. It's one of the reasons why we worked at TVPS for so long. So if you don't have access to face-to-face support, then of course you're still part of our HIV community. You do belong. and you can get in touch with us. You can email us. Right, you can get in touch with us. You can email us at office@tvps.org.uk to say hello and give you a shout out cryptically, anonymously, first name only, whatever you prefer. And although, we might never get to meet face to face, which might be a blessing because Jess and I can be a bit loud and chaotic sometimes, you'll know that we care about you just as much as we care about all our service users here in the UK in Berkshire and Hampshire. I hope that makes somebody feel a little bit better.
Oh, do you know what? I'm sure it will. That was really, really nice. And Sarah's right. And if you can't email, like drop us a DM, on our Instagram, whatever's easy.
Whatever works for you. But if you're feeling isolated, you don't have access to HIV support, you've got us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we are good at support.
Yeah, we really are. So and it's like, it's me and Sarah and obviously lovely Zoe who works on the podcast who are on our emails and our Instagram. It is us, so it doesn't go anywhere else. So Sarah's cat's here. Grace has joined us. Haven't seen her in a while.
Support.
She knows. Maybe she feels like, she knows you're sad. Oh, she's pretty, isn't she? No, I think. Oh, that was her butt. I just got a big cat butt in the camera. No.
Oh no.
I think it's really good to know that even in countries where they wouldn't let people in with HIV, or they would, deport people that did have HIV, that it's good to know that there is support out there. And like I said, we will put the links to all of these organisations below because they're doing fantastic work. So please do go and check them out. Show them some love. If they're on social media, of course I will tag them. So if we find them, go and give them a follow and go and give them support for their work as well.
But they are doing amazing work.
Yeah, well done, guys. Like, obviously, as Sarah said, just in case they're listening, we're from a charity and we support people living with HIV, and we have done for a very long time. So we can totally empathise with your day-to-day work. But yeah, our work here is done, Sarah. Go us.
I know. In record time. Excellent. Well done.
And now we're off to find out more about the secret supplies that I don't know, but you know, but could be happening in Portsmouth.
I don't think we've sold that well. I'm not going to lie. Thanks for listening to the HIV podcast. If you enjoyed our podcast, please like, rate and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You can now also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the HIV Podcast for behind the scenes insights and video. The HIV Podcast is produced by Thames Valley Positive Support.